Welcome back to another episode of the Bear Trap on the Boom and Bust channel, Bears podcast by a Bears fan. I'm your host, Terry, and today I was just about to head to bed. I was getting ready to close my laptop, and something made me refresh Twitter real quick, and what do I see? We traded for Keenan Allen. So, I don't know if that's important. I'm not going to look at it. So I don't know his contract in terms of, I definitely don't know his money, but I don't know the years. We know he's a receiver that's over 30. We know he's one of the top 15 receivers. So we give up a fourth round pick, and in a week where everybody has been talking about how we don't have a certain amount of picks, we just gave up another one. So I had to talk about it. I was thinking about talking about Fields earlier, but it's overload. I kind of just left it alone because it is what it is. But we get this type of news, and so I had to jump on the mic. So I'll talk about the Keenan Allen thing, and then we'll go for it. So this is a wild off season, as we all thought it would be. We knew there'd be a lot of changes. Obviously, Keenan Allen wasn't necessarily a target. This is a cap casualty for the Chargers, who restructured the money for Khalil Mack and Bosa. They cut Mike Williams, and now they just got rid of Keenan Allen. Which really, now that I think about it, I know they signed a tight end, but now I think about it, they don't have any receivers besides Quentin Johnston. So maybe Jim Harbaugh and Greg Roman and the jokes about how they just pretty much want to run the ball might be true. It might be true. They obviously got Herbert, but I don't know. It really seems like they are prioritizing just running the ball. But anyway, sorry, I just thought about that. But for us, we capitalize on the ever fluid situation, and that's the thing. The Bears fans come in the media, come into the off season and to free agency with this list. I talked about free agency wish list and all that, and so you laid out kind of like it's just like it's Madden, and it's not Madden. Things change. Things change quickly, and you got to be ready to adapt to plan B, plan C, and you got to be ready to be open to new things that you weren't thinking about. And so Keenan Allen becomes available where he might not have been available. But either way, we know what he represents. I think, these two have always been connected in my mind. I don't know if they came out the same year, but maybe. With Keenan Allen and Mike Evans, it reminds me, of that extremely, where you have a guy who is over 30, and that's that scary number for almost every position except for quarterback. And that's that scary number, but these are guys that have been consistent. Mike Evans has been available, I would say, more than Keenan Allen has, but Keenan Allen has been consistently a productive receiver, one of the best route runners, and the top target for Justin Herbert. So now we get him. That's great. And you pair that with DJ Moore. We left a big hole in the roster when we let Darnell Mooney walk. And so the talks of attacking this receiver class and trying to add something there, we end up adding Keenan Allen. And I would assume we're going to restructure the money. Although Keenan Allen, the reason he got traded is because he declined a pay cut. So I don't know what that means for us, but I'm not going to get up in arms about the cap space at this moment. So anyway, obviously two big targets for the quarterback that you're going to have. And I still think there's space to bring in another receiver. Obviously, there's space to, but I think there's enough on the field to bring in a third guy. You think about the Seahawks, which is more of a GM thing than an offensive coordinator thing, but they brought in Jackson Smith and Jigba, even though they had DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. And a lot of people like to, keep saying that Tyler Lockett was just going to get the boot. Actually, he was the most productive receiver out of the group, and they gave him a new deal. So they're rolling with 3 receivers, and obviously in this league you can. But the question to me, like many of the tough questions this offseason, is can you really justify to yourself getting a premium? And as I said before in my discussions about the draft, receivers are dime a dozen, like running backs. And so while yes, you can get premium, you can choose to go premium, you can still find effective receivers later on, especially in a draft class where you got 20 plus receivers with probably high round grades. And so, as I said the other day, this is a deep group, and that doesn't necessarily mean we have to go for a receiver at the top of the draft. Now we bring in Keenan Allen. That makes it even more flexible for us, and probably more likely that we get a receiver, or that we can go for a receiver later in the draft instead of early. I mean, but for me, again, I think it's possible they still will say, hey, we want to have 3 great receivers. Why not? We got an opportunity to. And despite what some people say, the edge class is just not, there's no ideal prospects. So it's not like you're missing out on one of those. And so there's still going to be question. I think people are going to really talk about trading back now because there's one less pick and that's one less need. So people are probably going to get loud about trading back with the number 9 pick. And I can't sit here and say there's an obvious answer. Like I said, it's about philosophy. I think in certain people's philosophy, they wouldn't even attempt to think about getting a top 10 number 3 receiver. And some people's philosophy, like I said, receiver might be important enough that we still, and these prospects could be good enough where we're like, this is not your average prospect. You know, this is going to be a different level than the guy we get in the 2nd round or 3rd round or whatever. And so we're willing to go for that premium prospect. Plus, the other prospects that are against them aren't as highly rated. So it's possible. I don't think there's an easy answer to that. But I would assume that most fans will, scream that we need to trade back and all that good stuff. So, again, one thing I will say, probably outside of quarterbacks, like the free agency and the trade market proves year after year the league values proven commodities. And so as much as people talk, and believe me, there's so much talk. I don't know why I got on Twitter, but since I've been on there, it's just so much talk, a lot of stupidity, to be honest. And it's just crazy stuff. But as much as people talk and think they understand what's going on, the league shows you time and time again, they're going to go for veterans. They're going to go for proven people. So, especially at a position like wide receiver, like I said, outside of quarterback, it's a given. It's a given. Even if you got a Nick Bosa prospect, but you got a Myles Garrett on your team, or you got a chance to acquire a Myles Garrett, you're going to stick with Myles Garrett. Even though it's very possible Nick Bosa is going to become a great player, I'm sticking with Myles Garrett because he's already shown me he's a great player. And that's typically what teams do. So does this mean the receiver class is not as good as people say? No. The class is that great, but they're still rookies. So we go with Keenan Allen. Anyway, I pushed it off as far as I can. Let me just say I think it's a great move. I'm a big fan of Keenan Allen. I guess I didn't think I need to say that, but I'm a great fan of him. Obviously, whenever it's a money situation, then you can get a trade that's not too prohibitive. So 4th round for Keenan Allen is great, especially if he's healthy. And he's still a prolific receiver, probably the best route runner in the league next to Devontae Adams. So I'm not going to be mad at adding that. All right. I've been pushing it off long enough. I know. The number one thing, as soon as people saw this, we're keeping Justin Fields. We're keeping Justin Fields. And it might just be because I've seen so many people today talking about the trade with Sam Howell, meaning that we're keeping Justin Fields. And it's mind-blowingly silly. But I know I tweeted this. I don't know if I said this. But this is what it boils down to. Because I said before, I'm not here to be right about what Poles is going to do. I'm here to look at the situation. Obviously, we're going to talk about what we would do or what we want. But at the end of the day, I'm not here to fight people about keeping Fields or anything. Because I'm going to support the team in whatever way we go. And I told you, I've been 50-50 split on it most of the time. So for me, that is, that's fine if you want it or you don't want it. But the objective fact of the matter is that if Ryan Poles decides to trade away, if he decides not to draft a quarterback and to go for the haul, which is hilarious. I'm so happy everybody on ESPN 1000 is making fun of the fans in the hall. And I see people hashtag Hall. It's so dumb. It's so dumb. But anyway, so if that's what Poles ends up doing, it is going to be a top 5 boldest decisions in NFL history. That's just what it is. Because no matter what you want to say, the rest of the league has told you what they think of Justin Fields. Now, there are going to be people that still will say Poles never shopped Justin Fields. And I'm sorry that that possibility is so small that I'm just pretty much ignoring it. That's like a 0.1111 or 0.0000001% chance that that's true. Because the fact of the matter is, here's what's funny. You have the same people. People will quote someone for a point for them and then ignore the same person when it goes against them. So I say that to say, you have one random person that said, or I don't even think they were random, but they said the Giants, I think it was Albert Breer, Giants have talked to the Bears about the number 1 pick. Keep in mind that, they leave out the fact that the Giants have talked to all the top 3 teams or top 5 or whatever about the pick. And so you'll see that, and these people will be like, see, you're going to be so sad. We're keeping Justin Fields. I'm like, you do realize. So that is true. But when you see this long list of people that said that the team said they didn't want Fields, or that they think Fields is at the same caliber of Drew Lock, or when they said that the offers to the Bears that Ryan Poles got were not what they were expecting, that's fake news. All of that is fake news, but you believe this report because it helps you out. It's silly stuff like that. So you got to look at all the evidence. The facts are, or I should say the strong probability is, that the idea that Poles didn't entertain any Fields trades, or he just denied them all even though they were good, that's not true. It's not true at all. And so it's very, very unlikely to be true. Let's say that. So now that possibility is out of the way, you are pretty much saying Poles is going to take a guy that has publicly been shown to not be valued in the NFL, because I don't care what you say. No, Poles can't be just smarter than 31 people. I don't care what you say. If the league actually felt like Justin was that level, they would have came for him with better offers. And if the Bears felt that Justin was at that high of a level, we wouldn't even have this conversation. No one pick would have been traded already. Well, it's just trying to squeeze people out and just, they're not that dumb. Do you think if if reporters have leaks and people they get information from that other teams don't, like they know that Ryan Poles wants to take a quarterback and they are trying to move on from Fields. If he wasn't, if he was like, no, Fields is a superstar, like all these Fields apologists, if he felt that way, then he would have said that, and we've already would have moved on with this pick. There's no big difference in you trying to lie about it. So, but even if that was true, the fact of the matter is the league still has told you that they don't think Fields is that caliber. And so you're going to decide to not only go into next year with the quarterback that you didn't draft, that has not popped, and that the league has told the public we don't think is that good. You're also going to pass on Caleb Williams. That is a top 5 boldest moves. Notice I'm not saying it's stupid or it won't work. Like, again, I'm 50-50. I get it. If we're going to get the compensation people think we're going to get, okay, we can see what we can do. We already got Keenan Allen. So then do we do some other things? Who knows? Do I think the draft has all these players? No. Like I said, edge, no real big difference maker. Absolutely no real difference. I wouldn't say difference maker, but no potential elite player at the 3 tech position. So what else are we looking at? Again, a third receiver, a center. So, we could build some, plug in some holes. Are we going to make superstars next year? I don't know about that. So if that is the route we go, okay, I'm not here to be right, but it would be a top 5 boldest move. And if it were not to work, it'd be a top 3 worst decision in NFL history. As some people said, if Poles were to pass on Caleb Williams and this not work, he's never going to have another GM job or maybe even a front office job. I think he could have a front office job, but definitely never a GM again. This would be one of the craziest moves. So that's my thought about it. And people again approach it of trying to be right, but I don't think a lot of the things that have happened point in the direction that some people have spun it to. But I also don't think, again, that this is something that I need to attack other people over. I think as a fan, we roll with what we end up doing. And like I said, I was happy coming into the offseason because I thought it was a win-win-win. I thought however we went forward, we are in position to make significant change. And obviously with the free agents class, which wasn't as great as the free agent class hasn't been great in a while, but it doesn't matter. This happens every year, every fan base. Oh, these are the top ranked people. Or that's a name I know. I want us to get all of them. Or how come we didn't get anybody? And then whoever we get, people want to spin it to make it sound like they're great. Well, this center had a lot of start. First of all, it's a 1-year deal, pending a physical, and on top of that, he was a free agent. So stop trying to sell me that this is like going to be a great pickup. Like, he shouldn't be the starting center going into next year if you do what you're supposed to do, in my opinion. So again, it just happens every year. That's what fans want. They just want the new shiny toy. But I don't think this free agency class was crazy. And I definitely don't think this draft is crazy outside of the positions, that we talk about. But I do think, like I said, we have a lot of ammo to kind of change our team. And again, you look at it now, are we super drastically different? No, but I don't think it was too many holes. It was just the biggest question of the quarterback, and we're still trying to figure that out. So I'm not here to try and tell you why we're not keeping Justin Fields, but I've said if we do, in terms of, keeping him and not getting another quarterback, top 5 boldest decisions ever. And so we'll see how it works out. But bringing in Keenan Allen makes some interesting choices. Like I said, I don't think anything so far has been kind of cut and dry. The only thing I think has been pretty apparent was that the Bears were not impressed with Justin enough to not try to move on. And from everybody that has sources, that is exactly what the Bears have chosen to do. And that decision was made a while ago. And so we'll see, because I'm on the fence. I got to think through it some more, but I feel like Poles didn't really handle the situation right with Justin. It's one thing for the market to not be what you think it is. Again, people are smart too. They got teams. They know how to scout. They know how to put on film. And so if you thought, man, yeah, Justin's not it, but let's just try and trade him to a team that really, likes him. Yeah, that wasn't the case. So that's possible. But even if that is the case, I just feel like he hasn't handled it right, because he's leaving a lot to speculation that gives you no real advantage in doing that. And so, if anything, it gives you more advantage if you were trying to keep Fields to say we're not trading Justin Fields, but we're still going to keep our options open. Okay, that's to show people, hey, I'm serious. That really, and but for me, again, I just feel like he didn't handle it. Now, that is with the caveat, I should say, that I don't know what he's communicated with Justin. So maybe Justin has been along this time, but usually that's not how it goes. So I just feel like he kind of mishandled this. But again, I still got to think that through. It's just, in my mind, it is hard to believe that they were like, hey, the decision is let's keep Justin. And even though we didn't fully evaluate all these quarterbacks, we're going to keep Justin, and we're going to fake like we're going to trade him, but we're not actually going to entertain anybody's offers. I don't see that being a possibility. So anyway, what does Keenan Allen mean for you? What do you think? Because we are, while I think some things are clearly like just not logical speculation, there is still a lot of speculation to be had, a lot of real conversations to be had about what we think is going on. And so with Keenan Allen, how do you feel that kind of shakes things up? So that's it for me. Go down in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Share around, get the conversation started. Thumbs up, subscribe, and remember, stay up and bear down.